And guess what? With people's expectation high, Obi entered the ceremony with a sleeveless. Like, who does that? Everybody's eyes was on him. Like, uncle, I don't understand what's happening here. And when they asked him, he said everywhere was hot, that Nigeria was too hot. So guys, today we're talking about this book, No Longer at Ease, by our own professional writer and award-winning writer, Chinua Achebe. This book is a trilogy. Remember before we reviewed Things Fall Apart, where the major character was Okonkwo. Now Okonkwo's child, which is Nwonye, also gave birth to this Obi. So in this book, Obi answered Obi Okonkwo, because if you know something, is that the Africans, they are good at sustaining their father's name. So this book is like a trilogy. You need to read the different books and then meet us at No Longer at Ease. So this book is set in Nigeria, and then in this we meet this set of people whose custom is to what's it called now, is for the prominent men in the society to help educate or help sponsor the less prominent. This is something I like about the Africans, especially the Igbo. The Igbo, they do it a lot, where a particular person is doing well, and then the father calls him and calls a meeting and said, you, what are you doing? And then the father is trying to make sure that the one that has is trying to make his other brothers also have. So this is something I have noticed among the Igbo culture. They do it a lot. So in this particular book written by Chinua Achebe, we see a group of men or a group of chiefs in the Umuahia Progressive Union. That is the name of the union, where they come together and donate money and then pick out one child among them who is doing exceedingly well in school to go and study abroad. So in this case, Obi Okonkwo was the one given the privilege. This is because Obi Okonkwo is intelligent, is an intelligent child. So he was sent abroad to study law. They believe if he studies law, he's going to understand the white man's constitution, and that's because they work twice as hard. However, the white man gets higher pay. So they believe if they can send their own child to go and study law, their child will understand the constitution and maybe be their voice in the parliament. So Obi Okonkwo was the privileged one. He was sent abroad, and guess what? The number one mistake this guy made in this book is that they sent him to go and study law, specifically law, but he went there to study literature. Like, who does that? Like, he went literature of all courses. He went there to study literature, poetry, narrative, and the rest, knowing fully well that he was on a scholarship to study law. Uncle went to study literature abroad. But the people, when they had it, they were disappointed. But somehow, their elders now, they just allowed it to slide. That even if he did not study law, he still went there to study. He will still have their knowledge, and then they just allowed that one to slide. The second mistake is that he made in this book is that after he graduated from school, the people threw a big party, like, now our own son, he's coming back, everybody, that kind of vibes. They threw party in Lagos, and they're like, this guy, so people were trying to dress to impress. Some people dressed the Yoruba outfit, abada, and being an Igbo man, he was expected to, if he's not appearing in a suit, this Western look, he should appear in his own cultural look. And guess what? With people's expectation high, Obi entered the ceremony with a sleeveless. Like, who does that? Everybody's eyes was on him. Like, uncle, I don't understand what's happening here. And when they asked him, he said everywhere was hot, that Nigeria was too hot, and that was why he wore sleeveless. So somehow they just now they just try to allow you to slide, like, but they still had questions. Who does this? And that was the second mistake uncle made in the book, appearing with a sleeveless. Then the third mistake uncle made in this book, or Obi made in this book, was when he was traveling to Umuahia. He boarded a bus, and that's to go and see his parents in Umuahia. And while the vehicle was going, police stopped his bus. And then, you know, in Nigeria, when police stops your bus, you have to give them something, you have to find them something. And because if you don't, they will ask for your particular, your glass license, your petroleum license. They will just make sure that they frustrate you. So at this point, the driver already knows, and he was about to give the policeman something, but you see Obi giving this officer this kind of eye, like you know, that kind of eye, making the making the officer feel uncomfortable about, you know, now, like, you know, that moment he's feeling uncomfortable that he's about to do the wrong thing. So the officer, now he couldn't take the money again. He felt like, who is this person looking at me? Obi was feeling, so Obi, when they drove past, Obi was feeling like, he has saved the situation. Only for the driver to like caution Obi, like, what is even wrong with him? Why is he going to do that kind of thing? That who even sent himself to do that kind of thing? The next thing, other passengers, they were screaming, like shouting at Obi, waiting they do yourself, all this kind of thing. That if that money they did not pay, that they will pay it double in the next checkpoint. That Obi would have just allowed them to pay the money peacefully. And the driver sent his conductor to please go and beg the policeman at the back and give him the money. So Obi was like shocked. Everybody was angry with Obi. That was like another mistake Obi made in the book. Okay, the climax for this book for me is when Obi comes up with this idea of wanting to get married to a particular girl whose name is Clara. Clara is a girl he met while he was coming down to Nigeria. He came down to Nigeria through a ship. So he kind of conversed with this girl Clara, and she's this beautiful, intelligent, confident girl, and Obi feels like she's going to be a perfect wife for him. So Obi tells the girl that he loves her and the rest, and on the spot she tells Obi that I'm an Osu. Osu, when I did a little research about Osu in amongst the Igbo culture, Osu is saying like the slaves, and the slaves is not supposed to have anything to do with the freeborn. Osu, they are like the second class citizens when in what's it called now, when it has to do with the Igbo culture. So they are usually ostracized. The people usually do not have anything to do with them. So she made it very plain to Obi that she's an Osu, and Obi was like, who cares about Osu? That Osu is an outdated Igbo culture that we have revolutionized and the rest. It was, you know. And then she was like, okay. He went about telling his friend he has found this girl Clara, and once he mentions that this girl is an Osu, they rebuke him immediately. So Obi is almost as if the more they rebuke Obi, the more Obi was even becoming even more stubborn, more now more belligerent and the rest. And so the next part to see Obi is where he was being summoned among the council of what's it called now, Umuahia Progressive, those persons that funded him to go to school. And at this point they wanted him to pay back the money they used to send him to school, because that's how they did. By the time you go to school and come back, you have to pay back the money, so they will use the money and fund another person. So they asked him to pay back the money, and then you see Obi begging for an extension of 4 months, that he just got a job with the British Scholarship Board in Lagos, and that he will need an extension to pay back the money. And then the chief told him, young man, we really have no issue with you paying the money in 4 months, even if you want more than 4 months. He even told him that we even know your salary and we don't mind giving you time to pay back. So Obi felt irritated. Then the chief was like, but we heard that you are even moving around with a strange woman. Before we know, Obi exploded. Bah! Why would they be, interfering in his matter, blah, 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 in his private life, that they should please, this one, that one, and he was angry. And then he said, out of annoyance, he said, in fact, let them not give him 4 months again to pay back the money, that he's going to pay the money as soon as possible. And then he left the scene. As if something entered Obi. I don't just understand, but we just saw him enter the ring shop, bought a ring, went, met Clara, proposed to her, will you marry me? Clara was still, but she said okay. The next day he traveled back home to Umuahia to go and tell his family that he wants to get married. On getting to the house, his parents were already aware of the issue on ground. and they were totally against it. First of all, Obi's father, remember, is a reformed man. He embraced Christian religion, like he embraced the Christian culture. So I think the father was a catechist in church. So the father is not supposed to be a traditional man as it were. But my people, his father was totally against it. His father told him, no, don't marry an Osu, you cannot. His mother, you cannot. Obi was like, all these things, this one, that one, that one, it is love that matters. And was even telling the father, you are supposed to be teaching these people that all these things is outdated since you've embraced new culture. The father said, no, my son, I am not talking about my life, I will soon die, but I will not be happy when you by yourself you will bring curse upon your life, upon the life of your children, and from your generation people will ostracize them. That we have not, the evil culture has not gotten to that part of revolution whereby Osu is not considered as anything. But it seems like the father was saying A and Obi was saying Z. Obi was just saying his own. He didn't even try to see reason of what the father is trying to say. I do understand. He was just saying his own. Even his mother told him that, see, if you marry Clara, the Osu girl, I bet you I'm going to kill myself. And for a moment, Obi started having a second thought about his choice. And somehow, he went back to Lagos and told Clara that his parents rejected it. And Clara, out of annoyance, took the ring and stoned Obi. I was like, but I told you that what's it called, freeborns are not allowed to marry Osu. I know all these things and I warned you from the beginning. And she was angry. But pause. I want us to analyze something. I personally, I don't think, if my parents are against me marrying somebody, I don't think I would want to go ahead to marry that person. I don't know, because I feel my family, they are like, I feel my family, they are part of me. They are like my hand and my, so if they tell me they don't want me to marry a particular person, I feel there is something they are seeing. It's always for my best interest. So I don't know why I should go ahead to want to get married to that particular person they don't want me. They are like the shield I'm having on earth. You grabs, they are like protecting me. And most times, if they have been protecting me since when I was a child, why would they want me or see me putting my hand in fire? Well, this is my own opinion. So I don't really know why Obi was opposing, as it were. So the both of them agreed that they were going to separate. But worst case scenario is that Clara was already pregnant. So somehow the both of them agreed that Clara is going to terminate the child. She's going to abort the child. And so as of then, even I think till now, abortion is still very, very much illegal in Nigeria. So then they were going to different hospital and the doctors were refusing that they cannot commit an abortion and the rest, until finally they found one doctor who called a very huge amount of money. I think then it was about £50. He called for them £50 to commit an abortion for Clara. And so Obi brought the money and then the operation was carried out. But then Ada had complications and she had to stay back in the hospital. Anytime Obi comes to see her, Clara doesn't want to see Obi and the rest. So Obi had to go his way, and that was the last we heard of Clara. So there, at this point, we see Obi being frustrated. That is because he's in huge debt, like he's in a big debt now. So the thing is that he borrowed loan for Clara's abortion. After that loan, he is still owing the scholarship body, the Umaya Progressive Union. Remember, those person that sponsored him is owing them. Number three, his parents are what's it called? His parents are very poor in the village of Umaya. So they are the expectations that people have for anybody who studies abroad and comes back. You know that moment where you have a big house, you have this house boy who's constantly at your service, you have this house girl, you have a driver, a chauffeur, always delivering of newspaper. You know that classical mindset people have for anybody who studies abroad and is back. So but he was not able to fulfill any of this expectation. So we see Obi resorting to bribe. The first bribe he took was we see a particular man telling him that please my daughter, I want my daughter to be shortlisted for those who be given a scholarship to study in Britain. And Obi takes the bribe. That was the first ever bribe he took. And so this kept happening until Obi started questioning his morality, if what he was doing was right. And then he realized that okay, he's actually denying people this scholarship in order to favor those that have paid him behind. And so while he finished thinking of it, he said okay, let him just take this one last bribe, and that will be the end. And only for him to realize that it was a setup. That particular last bribe was a setup. And so people were like, hey, this man Obi, such intelligent man with a bright future, what is he going to be taking bribe? You know, now everybody had words to say. And that was when we had what's it called now, there's this saying that a Nigerian man at the core is corruption. It was the white man that said that thing. That means no matter how good he is, no matter how wealthy or loaded he is, he will still resort to corruption. It was a white man that said it, that a Nigerian man at the core is corruption. Why the Igbo that was working in the British scholarship body on their own part were like, or the Nigerian people, not just the Igbo that was working there, was like, he would have told us that he's doing this thing now. Let's teach him how to collect bribe in a more discreet manner. After all, who doesn't take bribe? And then the other or the rest of the society are like, this man with a bright future, what is he doing with bribe? And you know the rest. However, the story ends with Obi in court waiting for judgment. And so that was how we arrived, or that was how we got to the end of the book, No Longer at Ease by Chinua Achebe. Thank you so much for viewing to the end. I love you so much. Please kindly subscribe to our channel. Follow our social media handles at Smash Book with Miracle Chisom. I'll be leaving the comment section open for a conversation, for questions. Let's just talk about this book. What do you think about the bribe? What do you think about the mistakes Obi has been making? Do you think his own was too much, or do you feel like the book itself depicted the real Nigerian situation? So I'll be leaving the comment section open for a conversation. Please do well to share our links to your friends, to lover of books out there. Our videos. Thank you so much for viewing to the end. I love you guys.